Do you see what I see today on Makayo Messenger? You know, when I was a kid, and I was a kid once. Before I get into being a kid, let me just give some shout outs quickly to Michelle, Megan, David, Robert, bless it all. Woo-hoo, thanks for moderating today. Good to see you guys in the fellowship there. And Rachel, is it? All right, awesome. And if I missed anybody, do forgive me. Jay Saunders, good to see you. Awesome. And guys, when I was a kid, and I was a kid once, I guess I'm still a kid at heart, but I grew up in the Star Wars generation. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. No, that's Indiana Jones. Okay, the same generation. Anyway, all written by the same composer. But that's totally digressing there. But Star Wars, right? Star Wars. I grew up in the Star Wars generation, and I had all the action figures. I had all the cool stuff, man. I had the Millennium Falcon, the original Millennium Falcon. I had the Hoth Ice Planet. It was fun looking up these and kind of reminiscing here. I had the Dagobah action set, which I sold a few years back, probably for too little, but the phone was starting to go there. And of course, who could forget the Star Wars Disco album? That was everybody's favorite. And I had all of the action figures, man. It was so much fun. And of course, I had the silver-legged C-3PO. Wait, what? The silver-legged C-3PO? Before I continue, be sure to hit that like button, that notification bell, and if you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that because you want to get all of our videos as they're coming out. And be sure to check out our playlist on the devil and how he works, and also CERN. Be sure to look that up on our site as well. But C-3PO, this is the C-3PO that I remember, and he was all golden, the golden boy, right? And he was kind of cheap plastic covered with some gold paint. And I'm sure if he had a silver leg, all the kids would be talking about it. We would be thinking about it. We'd be asking, why does C-3PO have a silver leg? But that never came up. I never, ever remember talking about C-3PO having a silver leg. It was never a point of contention. He was always the golden child. So it struck me as a little odd when I started to hear people saying, oh yeah, he had a silver leg to begin with. And I had to look into this, of course. And yes, it's a little bit off our regular beaten path, but you're going to see it ties into the Bible as we'll get to. But, in the more recent movies, he's clearly golden there in The Force Awakens and those newer defilements of Star Wars, I will call them. But in the original, the good Star Wars, man, the stuff that started it all, they claim that he had a silver leg, and you can look this up on the Ghoul of Goo for yourself, and they talk all about him having a silver leg. Silver leg, dun, 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 dun. So what is going on? I know how you feel, C-3PO. I'm scratching my head too. I don't get it either, my man. I don't know what's happening. You were always my golden child, so I don't know what they're doing to you here. Are they messing with our minds? Are they messing with you? What's really going on here behind the scenes? I think we got to walk the dog on this one, don't you think? So anyway, I went back and, I tried to look up some old clips of C-3PO in the original Star Wars movies. And I have to admit, I zoomed in. I'm like, well, yeah, I guess he does kind of look like he has a little silver on that lower leg there. Now, I have to say, well, okay, these are old movies. They were in the 70s and early 80s. And, you couldn't just go back and rewatch them on some streaming channel or something. You were kind of stuck, when they came out, you got them once in the theater, and then, man, you're lucky if they ever come out on television and then the commercials, and, who knows on those little TV boxes, who could really say, right? Who could really say? So you're kind of like scratching your head like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Am I crazy? Are you crazy? Well, maybe that's what they want you to think. And then they had to go so far as to give him a red arm in some newer editions. So then you're just really confused. And I don't even know what color C-3PO is anymore. I'm just kind of beside myself here. I don't know what to think. Did he have a silver leg? Does he have a red arm? Was he really the Tin Man? I don't really know. I'm confused. And I think maybe that's all part of the plan. So was our man silver from the beginning? Did they go back and CG this in? Why would they do such a thing, right? That sounds crazy talk, Makayo. What has gotten into you, my lad? Well, interesting. The movie The Matrix kind of pointed this out. The whoa, deja vu, right? Is it the same cat? Is it the same cat? Well, I don't know. Is it the same cat? Well, it's messing with your mind. Did they change something? That's the question. Now, it is kind of curious when you want to go back and look at these movies that they don't want you to see these movies. Now, that happened around the time when George Lucas, updated the movies, made them digital and so forth. And so, you're like, okay, why, okay, we get it. You want to make a digital version, but hey, why, all of us fans that grew up with it, we fell in love with it. I mean, why can't we go back and watch those movies? We get it. They got a newer version, but we want to see the original version. But he says, no, you can't see the original version. Well, that's kind of an odd thing to do. I'm sure you could make a lot of money off the originals as well, maybe even charge more for those. So why wouldn't you want to put those out? Well, it's not my vision. It wasn't my original vision. Yeah, is that really what it is? Well, funny, Disney loves to make money, but they too have said, we will never release these movies again. Why don't they want us to see these original movies that were made? Now, there's a lot of talk about George Lucas and some of his connections, and you can look into that more for yourself. I won't get too deeply into that for obvious reasons. But there is a child genius, quote unquote, who seems to know what the answer is. And he claims that C to the E to the R to the N has shifted us into a parallel universe. What? That's what he says. And everybody thinks he's the smartest boy wonder there is. And he says they've opened a portal. It happened a while ago. And a little particle started it all. And now they've shifted us into a parallel universe. So if you think you're seeing double, maybe you are. Maybe what you once knew is no longer the truth that we're living in now, at least according to this young lad. And he demonstrates how CERN, I think it was at a TED Talk or something, but he's giving lectures, this young boy wonder who supposedly invented free energy when he was a kid. Now, it's a little suspicious already because usually when anybody invents free energy, they quickly disappear, although we'll get to that in a second. But it is kind of interesting that they're publicizing this. The guy who invents the water car, he disappears. The guy who invents the free energy, they all disappear, right? And you go, man, what happened to them? Because they don't want you to have that knowledge. They want to keep you in the dark, right? Well, it brings us to what this boy wonder says. This explains the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect. Now, you may have heard of this. I'm calling it the ManDEVIL effect today, but you may have heard the Mandela effect. Well, the boy wonder says that is what explains the Mandela effect. Now, even here, they're already kind of punking you because Bugs Bunny is part of Warner Brothers. Well, actually, this is Warner Brothers, but Bugs Bunny was not really the character who normally came out here. It was Porky Pig that would come out. But anyway, but maybe I'm Mandela affecting at this point. This is what I'm saying. They're messing with your mind, man. They're messing with your mind. Okay, so let's keep going. So here, let's take a look at this. So Mandela famously is a man who led South Africa, and many believe that he died while he was in prison in the 80s, but then he actually came out and started leading the country, and they call that the Mandela effect because different groups of people believe something different about the history of this man. So here's a few examples of what they consider the Mandela effect, where you might have remembered it as Jiffy peanut butter and it's really Jif, or Looney Tunes with the two O's, or it's really a musical, like musical tunes, or the Berenstain Bears versus the Berenstain Bears. Curious George has a tail or doesn't have a tail. Sex in the City, Sex and the City. Febreze with two E's. Oscar Mayer or Oscar Mayer. Skechers and Skechers, and Fruit Loops, and on it goes, right? So, Mr. Pennybags with a monocle or without a monocle, Also, all these are, I don't know how well you can see these, but Pikachu, with a black tail, without a black tail, Kit Kat with a dash, Fruit of the Loom, Cheez-Its or Cheez-It, Oreos, and on and on and on. And, of course, there's C-3PO again. Okay, so, the question is the Mandela effect, right? What is this Mandela effect? Is it a real effect? Or could it be something a little bit more sinister? than that. Now you think, oh, come on, Mikhail, how can they go back? You know, are you telling me they went back to the original Star Wars movies and they changed C-3PO's leg also that they could punk us with a silver leg C-3PO here today? Well, I don't know. But is it possible? That's the question. Is it possible that when they decided, see, it doesn't mean they have to change all of history. They just have to change enough of kind of key, pop culture things that make us all go, and we start to question our own reality. And if they can get you to question your own reality, then they can get you to accept anything. Now, just a side note here, this little boy wonder disappeared. Okay, did he even exist? Is this the Mandela effect? That this kid said there was a parallel universe that explains the Mandela effect, and then he himself disappears. And there really is no Mandela effect. Maybe there really wasn't a kid. They're going to tell us in a few years, oh, that kid never existed. What are you talking about? That's just the Mandela effect happening all over. It's the Mandela effect within the Mandela effect. Oh, they call this, another word for this is sci, and I'm not talking sci-fi, to the op. And this is something that's proven. This is something that they do, where they get you to believe something that isn't true so that they can advance their agenda. They can advance whatever they want you to believe, whatever they want you to understand. And so the idea that they might take some very well-known pop culture things and change them, or maybe not change them, or claim to change them, maybe work out deals with the insiders there, say, hey, we want to change this. And so we can go back and say it was never that way or something like that. I know it sounds crazy, but these things exist. They do these kind of operations. This is happening. And so if they can get enough of the population to believe something, then it gets you to question your whole reality. If they can get you to question reality, then they can get you to accept anything. It's also a term called gas of the light, of the ing. And I did a video on this, just a minute long. If you haven't checked it out, I encourage you to watch this. It's a minute long on this. But basically, there was a movie called Gaslight where they convinced the woman in the movie that she was crazy. And this term is loosely defined as manipulating someone so as to make them question their own reality. Okay? Now, why would people do this? Why would they make you question? It sounds like a prank, like a gimmick. Like, come on, okay, who's going to really do this kind of stuff? But I just showed you that this is something that they are doing. It is proven. They do it all the time because they have nefarious purposes for it, right? And when they do it successfully, right? If they can do it to a whole culture and get you to the point where you question what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false, what is good, what is bad, then they can ultimately get you to accept a news article like this. That is completely crazy and makes no sense. Spend a little time getting your mind around what this is actually saying. And they can get you to accept that and go along with it and say that this is normal and this is okay. And if they can get you to accept 2 + 2 = 5, they can get you to accept anything. See, you will eat the bugs. They can get you to, live in a 15-minute prison like Hunger Games, or they can get you to take a mark on your body, and bow down to the beast, right? They can get you to do anything. And so that is the idea. Let's get everybody off kilter here, and you might use pop culture items to do that, to get everybody sort of unstable that, man, I can't trust my own memory. I can't trust my own mind. I guess I do need some overlord to tell me how to live my life and put me in my own prison, right? I mean, when you have your own government saying that we just went through 6 months of lies on their own website, actually a .gov website, and they're saying it was 6 months of lies, they're confessing it to you right there, then it kind of helps you understand a little better when Jesus says you will hear of wars and rumors of wars, right? Rumors of wars. What are rumors? Rumors are lies. Look at all these rumors surrounding me every day, right? Rumors are lies, guys. Lies of wars. Okay, they're wars that don't really exist. They're wars that aren't really happening, right? They're wagging the dog. Go check out that movie, right? Where they're convincing you that there's something happening that really isn't happening, or that something happened that didn't really happen. But right, if they do that enough, they keep you off balance. See, Daniel chapter 7 says, about the devil, about the Antichrist, he will speak against the Most High and oppress his holy people and try to change the set times and the laws. The laws of what? The laws of reality, the laws of physics, the laws of dimensions, the laws of universes. I mean, this may go deeper than we think, guys, changing the set times. The holy people will be delivered into his hands for a time, times, and half a time. Maybe even that has a double meaning to it. Are we talking about year, and the 3.5 years? Are we talking about time? Are we talking about changing time itself, right? Time travel or time space continuum or parallel universes, right? Very interesting. It makes me think a little bit differently when I think of scriptures where Jesus said, at that time anyone says to you, look, here's the Messiah, or there he is, don't believe it, right? You get this idea of it's like smoke and mirrors. You go into a mirror house of mirrors, and you can't tell which path you're supposed to take, right? It feels a little bit like that. Like, different people can pop up and be very convincing. And it kind of makes you feel all off balance about the world around you. Jesus has said cryptically, I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. And I brought this up in another video about Nibiru. Watch this Planet X Nibiru. And also another one we have here on the Nephilim. Look up the Nephilim videos. But it does kind of make you wonder, is he talking about another universe? Now, of course, most people will say, no, that's the Gentiles versus the Jews. But it does kind of make you look a little twice at some of these things he says, or when he says things like, if those days hadn't been shortened. Again, he's talking about time and the changing of time. And those days have not been cut short. No one would survive, but for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. So very interesting, very intriguing. We know that in 2 Thessalonians 2, it says, the coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with the work of Satan displayed in all kinds of counterfeit miracles, signs, and wonders, and in every sort of evil that deceives those who are perishing. Well, boy, you got to kind of wonder, every sort of evil? Can it even have to do with the time and the world that we live in? And finally, here in Revelation 18, he says, by your magic spell, all the nations were led astray. Now, we know that relates to the poison. We've talked a lot about that, but could there be a magic spell side to this scripture as well? So I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Are we living in a parallel universe? Did C-3PO really have a silver leg? Are we all just crazy? And going deeper and deeper into the abyss. If you haven't yet become a member, please become a member. Help support our ministry here. And you can join us 24/7 where we hang out and talk about all these deep thoughts in our members' fellowship. And also please join us at Makayo Ministries where we get into deeper Bible study, guys. Loving you, wishing you all the best, all the blessed, and Maranatha.